Hello everyone. Today we are going to install SQL Server 2016. We will learn how to install the SQL Server 2016 on the Windows server. So is first step is for installing the SQL Server. First we need to obtain the download the media from the Microsoft official site. So in my case, I have already downloaded the SQL Server 2016 Developer Edition from the Microsoft site. So after that, we will be right click on this media and click on mount. So once it will be that will be mounted on a virtual drive, that is F drive here. Okay, so after that we will go and click on this, and after that click on the setup file. So this while clicking after clicking on this setup file, the installation center for the SQL Server 2016 will be started. So let's click on this setup file, double click on this one and close this button. So as installing SQL Server 2016 involves several backend processes that handle different aspects of installation. So we will take the deep dive into the backend process involved in the SQL Server 2016 installation. So first step is the setup installation. The setup installation is that first step is the this setup installation. For the setup installation, we click on the setup file, and after that the SQL Server installation center is open. So there are left hand side and right hand side. There are different number of links are available, or all are clickable. Okay, so left hand side uh, we will take the tabs: planning, installation, maintenance, tools, resources, advanced, and options. Okay, so our target tab is installation. We click on installation tab. After that, installation tab, new right hand side window will be changed. That is a new SQL Server standalone installation or add features to an existing installation. That is, we are going to install a standalone instance. SQL installation has been done at a SQL Server failover cluster. We can also install, and standalone instance we can also install. So this is the new SQL Server failover cluster installation. When we will learn about the SQL Server failover cluster installation, that time we will use this claim. Now we are going to install SQL Server standalone instance only. So we click on this one. Sorry. So after that, SQL Server 2016. So setup is initialization when the backend process. Let's discuss first with the backup process. So setup is initialization is what is this? So when we run the SQL Server 16 setup, it starts with the initialization of the process. The process prepare the installation environment, verifies the system requirements such as available disk space, supported operating system versions, and necessary prerequisites. Okay, so these are the backend processes that I had discussed with you. So this is the wizard, and wizard after that we reached on SQL Server setup. The first key is a the first action item is a product key. So product key we need to enter. If we have a product key, we need to enter this one. Else we can specify any of the free edition. That this is a developer edition, so we can choose developer edition here and click on next. License terms. Blindly we need to agree with this license terms. So you can read the license and copy or take the printout. Also you can verify what kind of wording Microsoft using while providing the license to the uh, SQL Server to you. Okay, so you can use this one accordingly, and you can develop your understanding with the help of this document is present in this window. Okay, so blindly we need to click on this one. If we will not click this one, next button will not be enabled. So After clicking this one, next button will be enabled. So next button is enabled. Now we click on next button, global rules. Okay. So these are the setup rules, kind of setup rules. Once the installation, setup rules, what I said earlier, that the prepares the installation environment and verifies everything, that the system requirement, available disk space, and other supportive operating system versions. Okay, so next, this is optional for us. Update for check for updates, that is optional for us. We can leave as it is and click on next. That is okay. For click on next. So install the setup files. So first it is installing the setup files. That is done. So here the view the detailed report we can check, and here are the install rules has been verified here. Only two warning we have, three rules are passed. Warning is okay for us. If there is any kind of failure occurs at a status is a failed, then next button will not be enabled. That will be grayed out. First, we need to fix that failed status. If it comes our installation, then we can proceed with the installation only. Okay, now in our case, we are good, and there are past, three past and two warnings. That is okay. Next button is enabled. We click on next. Now the feature selection. Feature selection is coming. So feature selection, first part is the database engine services that we are going to uh, choose. Okay, in this step what we can just SQL servers features you want to install. You can select components such as database engine, analysis services, reporting services, integration services, and more based on your requirements. The installation program will install the selected components and their dependencies. How we would know, get to know that what kind of dependency is required? Here you can see that window. Okay, prerequisite for selected feature. So when I click with this one, the prerequisite or the status of the prerequisite is showing. It is saying that already installed. Okay, PowerShell 3.0 is higher installed. .NET Framework 4.6 is already installed, to be installed from media. Microsoft Visual Studio 2010 redistributor will be installed while we are going to install the SQL Server is set of files. Okay, so this is already installed. That is okay. If we check other one, that will also the it append the other things also. If these are, if these are, this need to be installed. Okay, so second point is the client tool connectivity we need to choose. Okay, client tool SDK we can choose. Client tools SQL client connectivity SDK is also okay for us, and backward connectivity of the client tool, that is okay. That is the one thing. Second thing, when in the real time scenario, when we are doing the job, customer or the application team comes to us and they are wanted to install the SQL server, they give us some instruction that they give kind of instruction, root directory should be on that place, shared feature directory should be on that particular specific space, shared feature directory 32-bit can be placed on the that particular location of the server. Okay, so it could be a D drive, E drive. What are the company policies they are following? What are the standard policies they are following? We need to follow these policies that time. Okay, we need to follow the document. They will provide you some kind of information, verbal or documentation. They will provide you, and they will tell you over the email also that these are the requirement and you need to follow these instructions while installing the SQL server. So these are what I am saying. These are the path are editable and customizable. Is Can be customize these paths. Okay, so we can change the path. But our case, I am only taking a C drive or the default path. So we are going to install with the default path. Click on next. Okay. Once the feature are selected, okay, after selecting the feature, we need to configure the SQL Server. So we can specify the instance name here, instance name ID, instance correlation settings. Additionally, we can choose between a default or named instance and define the instances authentication mode also in the next window. So default instance, if we choose the default instance, then the SQL Server instance name will be same as the machine name. Named instance, if we choose, we need to some logical name. We need to give some logical name. Instance ID generated automatically based on this instance name. If I will choose like that and then click on tab button, see the instance ID has been changed. But if I choose its default instance, that will becomes automatically. Okay, now that is okay. I am going to the default setting only, so we choose default instance only. So click on next. So server configuration, next step is the server configuration. So service accounts instance configuration, after that the server configuration. So server configuration, SQL Server services, SQL Server agent service, SQL Server database engine services, SQL Server browser services, which will run on under which account has the authority to run these services. The now we are choosing the default setting. We are not going to change any account name here, but in the real-time environment, we need to choose some service account here and as provided by the customer or the application team, and we need to set this one. And according to the requirement, we need to set the startup type also. Click on next as it is. We are choosing a default setting right now. And same the correlation. Sometimes they also tell us the what correlation we need to choose. This is the standard correlation and that we are going to choose, but these can be customized based on the requirements of customers. Next, server configuration, data directories, temdb location, file stream. We are choosing default everything, C drive location. So we are not going to change. But in the later session, we will be discuss these everything in detail. So server configuration, just there are two authentication mode. Windows authentication mode, mixed mode authentication. Mixed mode authentication is saying that is SQL Server will be authorize the user with the SQL Server authentication as well as Windows authentication. Both will be approved. So that as a password we are going to set here a this one. I am using the simple thing, simple password. So that is not that is okay. Manage missing what is saying that. Okay, so Windows authentication mode. Window authentication mode, that is the only Windows OS level authentication will be done. But if we choose mixed mode authentication, then the authentication will be handled at SQL Server level or the OS level. Okay. Now we need to use the this is a very basic step and the mandatory step. Which user is currently installing the SQL Server, they need to add themselves into the SQL Server and get the administrative access at the start of the SQL Server. Later, maybe they are not required in the system. Then other users when get the similar type of access, the current user can be removed from the server. It depends on the policies, okay, but not a mandatory each and every time. So click on next. Yes. So finally, we reached on our configuration file. This is the configuration we are going to install. In addition, is developer action is installed. Prerequisite is this one, and Microsoft .NET framework is this. These are the components which are going to install. We can review our selection here one before we are going to initiate the final installation step. So here is the step we can use to review our selection. Okay. Once that is done, then click on install. The installation will be in progress state. So it depends on the machine configuration. The process will take the time. There is a status bar that will be showing how much progress has been all completed and how much work is pending. So approximately now I can say that 30% around is completed. You can check these. These are the wording: install SQL tool extension CPU 64 action, just for your understanding what kind of files are going to install. Later you can go for the file, go to the folders and you can verify that. Here is a folder already built on the C drive. On the C drive, program files, Microsoft SQL Server folder will be there. Yes, this one. And MSQL Server and 130. There are so many folder will be built, but this is the folder where all the things are coming, and this is a setup bootstrap folder. If any error comes, then you need to review the error from these folders only. So this folder has a default location on each and every server. It does not matter customer what saying the other customization customized path they have given to you for the installation directory and other thing. These fold are present on this drive only or this location. This is a standard location for each and every server. So installation speed is good. It is. So let me tell about something about service account. We need to just specify the service account while installing the SQL servers. SQL server will use to run these services, and we can choose built-in service account that is already we have selected in our current scenario. But later we can change with the given service account provided by the application team or the customer. And database engine configuration, when we are selecting database engine configuration, we are installing the database engine. We are configuring the settings such as authentication mode, collation, and administrator. Okay, so these kind of setting we are done. Also we are defining whether the SQL server will be run on Windows authentication mode or a mixed mode, or we can allow both. With the mixed mode we can allow both the Windows and SQL server authentication mode. Once all the settings are completed, then we the installation steps we can proceed with the installations. So when this click on this installation process, the setup program copies the necessary file, registry services, register services, configure SQL server settings, create the specified instance. The progress is displayed allowing you to monitor the installation. Okay. Configuration once completed. After the installation is complete, setup program display a summary of the installed components and their status. We can view the configuration log to check any error or warning that occurred during the installation. That is a bootstrap folder that I told you earlier. So there are many key backend processes involved in installing the SQL Server 2016. Each step ensure that installation is performed correctly. So what is the process, backend process task? The task is that ensure that the installation is performed correctly, adhering to a specified configuration and the requirement. When we install SQL Server 2016, it installs several services, creates various folders for its operation. Okay. So some of the folder and their purposes I will be discussed with you. So what kind of folder and services will be installed? So this is the installation is completed. Everything is succeeded. So installation has been completed. Okay. So this is the file, the COSI program file, Microsoft SQL Server 130 setup bootstrap log. This is the location of the summary of the our installation. Okay. So when we install this one, so what I was saying earlier that when we are installing this one, So what happened at the back end? So there are so many folders are created. Okay. Then let me complete this one. Click on close button. The installation has been completed. Okay. So program file, Microsoft SQL Server. There are so many folders are created. Okay. So what is the purpose of the some folders and the services are created on the server? So many services are created like that. I show you SQL Server configuration. Not showing. No problem. We will go for SQL Server 2016. Okay. SQL Server 2016 configuration manager. So many services are installed. Three services are installed. That is the browser services. That is the SQL Server and agent service. That is stopped. We can start these services. Okay, this service start. Browser service is not required if there is a default instance on the system and only no other instance is present on the system, then browser service need not to start. It is stopped is okay state. Okay, network configurations, network client protocols, allies. You can choose SQL Server network configuration, client tools, 11.0. Okay, these are kind of services are installed and components are installed. So one of the some of the major services I discussed with you, SQL Server Database Engine. This is the core service that provides the relational SQL Server Database Engine. This is the core service that provides the relational database management system functionality. SQL Server Agent. This service handles the automation tasks such as scheduling and executing the jobs, alerts and notifications. So program file Microsoft SQL Server is the installation folder, data folder, backup folder. Uh, these are the folders are created. Okay, so these are the some tools related and configuration related folders are present. Okay, so data related there is a backup folder is created. The database is are created here. Okay, and this is the folder install. What are the files are present on this one? These are the jobs log. So these are the this is the error log of the SQL Server. Okay, so that will be also we will be study this error logs also in the later sessions. So many folders are created. Okay, so with the help of this we have completed the installation and SQL Server installation is completed. Next step is that install the SQL Server management tool. That we will do in the next day session, and we will install the SQL Server management tool, and after that we will connect the SQL Server management tool with the install. Today we SQL Server is installed, that we will connect with the SQL Server management tool. Okay, so stay connected. I will be notify you when I will upload the next video, and for this one I install the SQL Server management tool. Thank you very much for your time.